Good morning, everybody. My name is Kara Masseri. I'm the Communications and Marketing Manager at the Northern Virginia Technology Council. Thank you for joining us this morning. Some of you may recognize my name from the emails that get sent out from NVTC, so you get to put a face with a name now. Today we are hosting our second webinar in our Business Continuity webinar series. We are recording our webinar. This content will be the property of NVTC, and you cannot rebroadcast or use the content without written consent from NVTC. We will post the recording on our website later today or early tomorrow morning, so the recording will be available. Before we get started, just a few more housekeeping issues. Everybody should be on mute, but just remain on mute during this webinar. If you would like to connect with somebody or send the panelists a message, you can use the chat feature. You can chat one-on-one or you can chat directly with the panelists. And then you can use the Q&A feature to send questions that Jason will answer at the end of his presentation. I just want to call your attention to a few more events coming up next week. Actually, one is tomorrow. We're hosting our first virtual morning coffee with Rich Montoni. He is the NVTC chairman. That will be at 9 a.m. On Tuesday of next week, we will have our third presentation in our Business Continuity webinar series. It will be the title of the presentation is Leading Through the Coronavirus, Guidance for HR and Business Leaders. That is next Tuesday at 11. Wednesday, we'll have our second virtual happy hour with a twist. We'll be playing technology trivia. So those of you who are big trivia fans and miss going out for Tuesday trivia nights, Wednesday, 4 p.m., our virtual happy hour, we will have technology trivia. And then Thursday, our fourth presentation in the Business Continuity webinar series will be Practical Time Management Strategies for Working from Home, even with children. I will be definitely taking notes on that one. That will be Thursday at 1 p.m. of next week. And as most of you know, you can find all of NVTC's events on our website, and that's nvtc.org.org. On that note, I'm going to turn things over to Jason for today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here with NVTC. I'm COVID casual, and I also want to wish everyone health, safety, and wellness as we go through this. Let me share my screen, and we can talk through some of the ideas that I have around telenetworking and social distancing and how to make it work. Because I think there are some unique opportunities here for everybody, even during what we're all going through. So just a quick background on me and why I do what I do and why I really enjoy what I do. I was growing up in northern New Jersey, and when I was a sophomore in high school, my father lost the only job that he ever had. He worked in the garment industry in Midtown Manhattan. His father worked in the garment industry in Midtown Manhattan, and so did his father. So I would go to often work sample sales. I remember when I was in high school. And when he lost his job, my two younger brothers and I quickly became aware of the uncertainty and unpleasantness that comes with unemployment. And so after 6 months, my college money went to pay the mortgage, and we were shopping in food pantries, and I was on the school's free lunch program. And so I wanted to know why. So why did people get jobs? Why did people lose jobs? Why did people get promoted and not? And so I became the wackiest teenager you ever met. I was getting subscriptions to Fortune and the Wall Street Journal. And if we were friends in college, I was helping you mock interview because I thought it was really important. And so wherever I've worked, I don't have an HR background, but I've always been a partner to HR and HR business partners and learning development people and recruiting people, because I've always been a partner to them in understanding why people succeed. So you could always say that building relationships, coaching, storytelling, professional development, and recruiting have always been part of my core interests, and that's why I do what I do with Ready, Set, Launch. So today's conversation, and again, I'd love it to be a conversation as I'm going through the slides, and feel free to put in your questions, your comments, and I'd like to get to as many questions and comments that time allows. But as we're thinking about telenetworking, I just want to give my own COVID-19 thoughts. What are feasible goals during COVID-19? Because it's it's really a new way of doing business now that we're all at home. Thinking about your portfolio of relationships. So there's an analog component to this. I know a lot of folks think of the tele first before the networking, but in reality, your relationships are your relationships, whether there's technology or not. How we can set reasonable goals for consistent outreach. Folks have family at home, folks have time constraints. And so I wanna talk through how we can be intentional, set goals, and then manage new introductions and get meetings. So COVID-19, and I've been saying this early and often to my clients that it's time to ditch the pitch. And so because of what's going on, I think there's really two important themes as we think about the relationships and the folks that you have. The one is empathy. In this time of uncertainty, there are people that are just concerned. There are people that are nervous. And so the more that you can show empathy to the people in your own circle, I think would be certainly appreciated. And talking about appreciation, I think this is a great opportunity to show appreciation for the host of people that are in your own relationship base. So as you think about this notion of telenetworking, going in with a sense of empathy and appreciation is a very good strategy. So as we think about goals during COVID-19, there's really four themes that I'm noticing when I'm working with my clients in terms of their own telenetworking goals. And they're the following. The first is, I've been recently laid off and I'm seeking a new role. And what we're seeing in the news is confirming that. The second is, I'm actually interested in keeping my current role, and how can I deliver value, and how can I stay engaged with the relationships I have that will help me stay within my current role. I just started a new role and want to integrate into my team. And so there are a good number of folks that recently started and they're at home with their laptops. And the final piece is, certain folks that are looking to develop business in this environment. Whatever your goals are, at the end of the day, it really comes back to your own relationships. And I think that people forget the broadness of the relationships that they have. And so I often think of relationships in terms of a portfolio. And so as I'm talking, there are really, from my vantage point, two buckets. One's professional, one's personal. And when you think about your professional relationships, there are really a whole host of relationships that you could be engaging with, throughout COVID-19. Your organization, whether it's an organization of 10, 15, 20 people or an organization of 20,000 people, being able to engage with those folks is important. Professional and industry associations like NVTC, and they've got a great lineup of webinars, and I was briefly on the happy hour yesterday, which was a nice, relaxing way to meet some new people. Past supervisors and colleagues. I think it's a really great opportunity to reach out to those folks and see how they're doing as well. And for those that are looking to develop business, your current clients, your referral sources, even past clients, past referral sources. The fun part that even for me that I've been engaging in is just my own personal relationships, going back to university alumni, high school alumni, grad school alumni, folks that I haven't heard from in a long time, been able to re-engage with them and see how they're doing. You might be involved in some type of social mission nonprofit, your religious institution. I know a lot of religious institutions are now doing virtual Zoom, different types of both meetings and sermons and things like that. And of course, political affiliation. So, you have a very broad set of folks that are in your world. And I think during this, it's really a great opportunity to be reaching out to them. So how do you engage? And the first thing that I think about is, okay, who are the people that have influenced your career? Write them down from high school to present. Who are those people that have made an impact on you? And what is it about this person that you admire or respect? And specifically, what have they done for you? And how have they impacted your life and career? Because often people come to me and they say, Jason, I just don't know where to begin. A little frazzled at the moment. And so I always believe that it's good to be good to those that have been good to you. And to list out those people and start with those people. It could be a list of 5, it could be a list of 10, it could be a list of 20. And for some that are so frazzled, it just might be, 1 or 2 people. And reach out to them and really ask them 2 questions. How are you? And is there anything I can do for you? Because the great thing about reaching out to folks that you already know is that they might be remembering things about you that you have forgotten. Rekindling those types of relationships can actually bring you energy and actually put a smile to your face, even though we're in a time now where we're pretty much confined to our own houses and apartments. So as we're also thinking about engaging new relationships, I get this question a lot, can I be reaching out to folks on LinkedIn that I don't know? And that is still happening. And I've developed a sample text that is COVID-19 specific that you could use in different ways. And it goes like this. So, dear person who I find interesting. The first sentence is hopefully giving a sense of empathy to them. And then the first paragraph is really about how is it that you respect and admire them. And that would be useful either in a COVID-19 situation or not. The second paragraph, I think, is also important because you're recognizing that we're in a unique situation, but you'd still like to get a chance to talk to them. So it's still happening, and depending on how long this goes on, I think using specific language that recognizes COVID-19 is a way to show that you recognize what's going on in the current environment, but you still want to engage someone in a conversation. Now, remember that whatever conversation that you get, it's still on you to take the next steps. And so for me, telenetworking is still about the follow-up. And so whatever conversations you get, whatever types of things are talked about, to the extent that you can, to get a note out to them, anything that you might have learned from the conversations that you've had. And I think it's important, especially in this time, it's hard to, I've been joking with certain people that sometimes I'm even forgetting what I had for breakfast or my own name. And so marking a tracking file right after you have a conversation so that you can remember what was actually discussed. And this is typically what a tracking file looks like. And for me, big fan of Milton Friedman's quote, if it's not written down, you don't know that you know it. And so all you're doing is putting down the name of the person, the time that you either met them or discussed something, and any particular notes and particular follow-up. And so to have a tracking file while you're doing this is actually a good use of your time. And since time is of the essence, we don't have a lot of time. Some of us are, some of us have a lot of time. Folks that are parents and have their kids at home, they might be working half-time or quarter-time or, whenever they have a free moment. And so when I think about tele-networking during this time, I think about developing a plan. And it's a simple plan, but I think it's a good way to think about how to go about this. And so why plan? And there was a group of PhDs that studied why people achieve the goals that they actually set out to do. And so there was a study done back in 2015 where they took a group of folks and gave them things to do. And what was interesting is that 43% were more likely to achieve a plan if they wrote it down. And then 62% were more likely to achieve the plan if they wrote it down and shared it with a friend. And 76% were more likely to achieve the plan if you write it down, share it with a friend, and then send out weekly progress to a friend. The fun part about this is, for years now, I've had my own accountability partner, a fellow coach. On Fridays, we hop on the phone for a half an hour. He tells me what he's up to. I tell him what he's up to. He tells me what he's up to. And as we've gotten into COVID-19, we've started to make more promises to each other. Okay, by next time Friday, this is what I'm planning to do, and I'm going to share that with you next week. So that it's very specific and it's very direct, and at least I'm making a commitment to somebody that I trust that I'm going to achieve this in the next 7 days. And so that's why I think that we can make SMART goals around this. And I'm not thinking about this huge, broad SMART goal where, like, 1 year from now, this is what needs to happen. But using the SMART format for your relationships during COVID-19 can really help you say, okay, here are things that I'm interested in achieving. Here are the people that I'm interested in reaching out to. And let me develop a specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant, time-sensitive goal around this. And so this is what a SMART goal could look like for you when you think about your own telenetworking goals. Enhance my current relationships by reconnecting with one former high school, college, grad school classmate every week during the next 90 days. And so it's very, very specific. It's very, very achievable. Even in, like, if you had 5 minutes to reach out to somebody and then to set up that 15-minute or 20-minute call or Zoom or whatever, it allows for you to really keep in touch. And often we talk about keeping in touch. We know we should keep in touch, but the execution of it, the actual doing of it, does not happen. And so you're talking to somebody that finds joy in mundane. And so by setting up a specific goal for yourself, and it could be for your organization, for folks in your place of worship, whatever you think that is important to you, I think now is most important to be setting up relationship goals, because we're not passing people in the hallway at work. We're not even passing to say hi people at grocery stores because we want to get in and out so quickly. And so I think that setting up this type of relationship goal is a really good use of your time and a great way to stay connected with the people that you already know. And so when I think of telenetworking, that's where my mind goes immediately. So from a structure perspective, setting clear goals for yourself, being able to recognize the strategies of your own portfolio and who's in that portfolio, and then using time blocking and a tracking file is a great system to help you telenetwork through COVID-19. And here's some strategies for you on how to actually get this plan executed. To the extent that you can, to go to bed even 10 or 15 minutes earlier. A lot of studies on sleep, and that's something that I have really been executing on, because I'm a night owl, but now that everybody's home, I've been going to bed a half an hour earlier, and it's been really helpful to be able to do what I need to do. The second is a Pomodoro. I don't know if you're familiar with the Pomodoro Technique. It came out of Italy during the 1980s, where an Italian PhD had hundreds and hundreds of pages to read for his PhD. And so what he did was he actually came up with a system where he took away any distractions, no phone, no nothing. He put a tomato timer on his table and the things that he had to do, and he set a timer for 25 minutes. He worked for 25 minutes, he took a 5-minute rest, 25 minutes, and then a 5-minute rest. And what he was actually doing was thinking of his work in terms of Pomodoros instead of how many Pomodoros it would take to get the work done. I say to you, with our limits on time, maybe a 12-minute Pomodoro or a 6-minute Pomodoro. It's amazing what you can get done in 6 minutes if you shut off anything else. A very discrete task to get something done, and that feeds into my next one, to have an MIT, the most important task. Big fan of the local author Daniel Pink, who wrote To Sell is Human and Drive and a bunch of other books. On his podcast, he often talks about having a most important task. And so one thing that I recommend my clients do before they go to sleep, to write down one specific thing that needs to get accomplished in the following day, and that's your MIT. If you get nothing else done, that you get that piece done. And then finally, to the extent that you can, I mean, I know that we're in a challenging time with time constraints, but the extent that you can calendar block some time to focus on your relationships will be helpful as you telenetwork throughout all of this. So some quick parting thoughts, and then I look forward to getting to some questions. So engage all of your relationships. I think this is an outstanding time to engage people because we're not traveling, we're not commuting, and you'd be surprised who's really available, a lot of people. It's COVID-19, so please be human and humane. The notions of gratitude and empathy will certainly be well received. With each new relationship, be clear in your ask and thankful for their insight. Do develop out a tracking file. I think it's a good use of your time. Be patient because results will come and we will all get through all of this. And above all, be yourself to infinity, because that's what people hope and expect of you. So feel free to keep in touch with me. Here's my email address, and here's some things that you can consider me for, depending on where you are and might be in your organization. Here's my website, Twitter feed, and Facebook feed. And so I will be more than happy to answer and take any questions.
Thank you very much, Jason. Definitely, I have some takeaways from your presentation. A lot of us, there were a lot of comments about the accountability partner.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular that you recommend we choose for an accountability partner, or some better than others, some types of people?
Yes. People that actually say they're going to do what they do.
Right.
So I think we all have folks in our world that mean well. But I think if you pick somebody that doesn't judge, somebody that's very good and organized, and somebody that's very good about getting to the point and keeping time. And so we all have a friend or a family member that's super organized, right? And so you pick somebody and say, all right, we've got 20 minutes together and you've got 10, I'm taking my phone out, and you literally can start a stopwatch and say, all right, let's go. And let's do this in, a certain amount of time. So, and of course it has to be somebody you trust, because you're going to be talking about things that are important to you. So I feel very lucky that I have this other coach that I work with, and my wife, we talk about our stuff all the time. I'm very blessed to be married to somebody that is thoughtful, caring, and loves to cross T's and dot I's.
Very good. So Jason, I would love for you to share how you and I reconnected and the tips on LinkedIn, how you saw that I looked at your profile because I remembered you had posted something and then you and I reconnected.
Right. So you and I knew each other from a prior life where you were working for an investment firm. And you had seen me speak to that group. You had brought me in as a speaker, and time had passed, and you're now at NVTC. And I think we had reconnected when you originally got your new role. I'm a huge fan. Back to appreciation and back to I love congratulating people. So I'm like, Kara, congrats. Let's get time on the calendar.
Right. And we did.
And that was, 8 months ago or something like that. And then I, using the paid version of LinkedIn, I saw that you were on my profile. So I wrote a quick note. Hi, Kara, how are you doing? And then I admitted that I saw that you were on my profile. I'd rather be honest than not. And so that was a really fun way to reconnect with you and hear how you were doing. And I think the most important piece, between us is that there was already a level of trust. We've already worked together. We already know. And it was fun to just hear how our worlds have evolved since then.
Right. And I think what it was is that you had posted something on your LinkedIn profile. You had posted a picture of your schedule with your wife now that we were all working from home and our kids were home. And that resonated with me. And then, I started thinking about that post, and I went back looking for it because I was now thinking at work, this would be a great topic for a business continuity webinar presentation. But if you didn't have that professional version of LinkedIn, you wouldn't have known that I had come to your page and checked you out and, tried to find that post. So I do think that using LinkedIn, the professional version, it's a paid version, but it's not that expensive, is an excellent way to help network during this time where we are not doing face-to-face networking at venues anymore. So
yeah.
leaning more on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I guess the reason I didn't do a deeper dive on LinkedIn was that, for me, I think often first analog before digital.
Right.
And so, yeah, and definitely LinkedIn helped, but you wouldn't have responded to me if we already didn't have a good vibe, right?
Absolutely. Right. Nope. I would have just been like, whatever, that's spam.
Yeah, exactly. But, I'm a LinkedIn geek. Remember that LinkedIn started in the summer of 2003. I joined LinkedIn in January of 2004. My LinkedIn member number, when they still had member numbers, is 141,272. So I'm one of the first 150,000 to join LinkedIn. And now there's like a billion members on LinkedIn. So I've seen every evolution of the platform. I think that slide that I showed on professional and personal relationships, you can go in and sort your own contacts and go through. I think it's a good use of your time on LinkedIn to not only be sharing stuff, but actually go through and look through the current connections that you actually have. And you will be surprised to see, oh, wait a minute, I remember working with that person 5 years ago, and now they're over here. Because sometimes you'll find that people don't use the alert function when they switch jobs. And so all of a sudden you think you know someone and you know where they're at, but by actually going to my connections and go and start with the A's and go all the way to Z, it only takes about 45 minutes at most, and then be writing down people like, what, I should really get back in touch with this person. I should really say hi to this person. So completely agree with Kara. LinkedIn is a great way to actually organize yourself and actually do that.
Great. All right, Jason, here's a question that someone's typed into us. How do you suggest that managers work with their staff teleworking to not get consumed by COVID-19, but rather focus on business as usual? COVID-19 seems to be the only business happening and real work is still there and needs attention and focus. What are your thoughts to that?
Yeah. Oh,
Kind of
well,
loaded.
I mean, here's the thing. I think as I talk to managers and leaders, one, to recognize that it's not business as usual, and back to that empathy piece, and then to be able, secondly, to over communicate with your staff, so that, I was talking to the leader of an investment bank, and he said, listen, I'm talking to people on a weekly basis that I might have passed in the hall and had a conversation with them once every 2 months. And so I think that being there for your people and hearing them individually is even more important in this time. And to say that I hear you, how can I help you get to where you need to go? I know a lot of managers right now are spending a ton of time, much more time, not only in group sessions with their teams, but also talking with direct reports and the reports of their direct reports, just to make sure that they're understanding all the needs of their employees. Once you understand the needs of your employees, then you can actually get some priorities done. But yeah, it's a huge challenge. I mean, it's something that a lot of folks that I've been talking with are trying to figure out as they go along.
Yeah. So yesterday evening, NVTC hosted its first virtual happy hour. And do you have some best practices or tips for properly participating in a virtual networking happy hour, or a breakfast, a lunch, whatever it may be? It seems like virtual networking events are very.
So your sound went off, but I'll hit the virtual networking piece. And what I'll say about this is, because of the environment that we're in, and the fact that I'm giving a webinar and I'm in a t-shirt, and I think that a lot of folks are showing up to virtual networking pieces as virtual networking events as they are. I would keep the conversation. I think it's okay to talk about how you're handling it, to share some personal information, but not too much. There's really no asks that you can make during the virtual happy hour. But then, if you get the list of names and you see folks that, either via LinkedIn or other means that you share something in common, then it's a really great way for you to reach out and connect with them afterwards. So, I would treat a virtual networking event no different than any regular networking event, in terms of asking people how they are, how they're doing, and getting to know them a little bit. A virtual networking event with 20 or 30 or 40 people, I mean, it's hard to have an individual conversation, but it's always good to hear what people are talking about. And you might want to come to a virtual networking event with a question to ask the group. As somebody who loves to ask questions, I think virtual networking is a great opportunity to crowdsource ideas and get people to engage. And then whoever has the best answer, you can follow up with them directly.
And do you find that you should try and follow up with everybody, just some people? I know that yesterday in our virtual happy hour, everyone was kind of in the chat feature, people were putting their names, kind of a little bit about what they did, and then their contact information. That a good best practice?
Sure. And you don't have to follow up with everybody. I mean, that's just, I don't know if everybody has time for that. But, for folks that you find interesting and that you have some commonality with, sure, you definitely follow up with them. Sound is out, can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Hey, Kara. All right, so now your microphone's off.
There, can you hear me now? Sorry about that.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
All right, so my question was, or really my comment was, people are looking to make new connections, or is that still a proper thought that they should be making these new connections, or at this point should they just be going back to the connections they already have and trying to grow those?
Well, I think it's a two-pronged approach. I think one, you should be definitely going back to the relationships you already have, and as you're looking to make new relationships, to rekindle relationships you already have as a means to get introductions, great opportunity. I think if this goes on longer, then I think that I think for many of us, the first week was a true shock to the system. And I think we're all still adjusting to this at-home environment. But if we're another month from now, I think reaching out to new people is perfectly fine. And I have homework for everybody. So I have a list of questions that I think everybody should be thinking about.
Okay, great.
And so to your point, if you set that first SMART goal of reaching out to the people you already know in your own portfolio, and how are you going to do that, then a month from now, you'll definitely be in a better place. One, to have reconnected with people you already know. Two, they might be in touch with people that you're interested in engaging. And then three, a month from now, you could be in a place where you could be reaching out to new people, or even earlier. So.
All right, I believe that there are no more questions. So if there's any parting thoughts you have, Jason, otherwise we can wrap this up.
Parting thoughts are hang in there. We'll get through this.
Great, thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate your time. Please thank your wife for corralling the kids so that you could have this time with us. We appreciate it. And I just encourage everybody on the call to check out our website, check out the events on our website. Our website's nvtc.org. And we hope to see you on another virtual event. Everyone stay safe and healthy, and get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather today. Thank you.